Okay, so we are recording. Essentially, this is, oh, thank you so much for joining. Essentially, this is a three-part interview, or three segments, if you will. We'll start with the first segment. The first is more
Mhm.
logistics piece. And so I'll just ask what corporate function do you work in, or what type of work do you do?
So it's called, I think, loyalty. So we take care of our member customer. My role is data scientist.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And then if you could think back to your, like when you started at your current organization, what are some of the things that attracted you to your current employer?
Okay, some of the things. Well, so I know that I can travel for free. So the travel benefits is one. Another one is they based in Texas, where the cost of living is reasonable, and I have a family, so that's important.
Okay.
And because I have a family, the next reason would be I want like a balanced work life. I don't want to work 16 hours a day. Yeah. So it's more revolving around my personal life rather than my career development, because I think for an industry that is so old as an airlines, I was kind of like not placing a lot of importance on career development. Yeah, for choosing company, but as long as I know the company is diverse enough, then I would kind of like not feel isolated or being, single out, being like a woman and then from not from the United States. Yeah, so diversity was a big one that I noticed the company plays a high importance on.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And are you aware of any diversity and inclusion initiatives at your current place of work?
Can you repeat the question?
Are you aware of any diversity and inclusion initiatives at your current place of work?
So specific initiatives, I don't think I'm aware of, but I know that like as company policy, we have different employee resources group. That's where people of different like origins or how to say maybe like gender orientation or sexual orientation are celebrated, right? So we have EBRG for Asian Pacific. We have that for LGBTQ. Yeah, so everything that people can think of, you can always set up an EBRG and have employees that share the same interests or the same traits to participate in, and then get funding for activities.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And essentially, what does inclusion mean to you?
Oh, inclusion. Okay, yeah, I've been trained on this, so the company have very frequent training, and to me, the ones that I only remember those that I can apply. So from my daily life at work, try to include everyone in all the conversations that are relevant to them, and then just things as simple as inviting everyone to lunch if they are not eating with anyone else or having no meetings. Yeah, so like include everyone in like things that are supposed to be uh, group activities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. And do you feel included at your current place of work?
Yeah, I think, well, not just because of the training that we have, so we go out of our way to do that, but I think also because each of us is so unique and different that we try to make everyone else feel at home as well. And yeah, so I mean, of course, it starts from management level and then down all the way to my manager and then my teammates. Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt left out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. All right, so now we'll move to the second segment, which is on organizational assimilation. Are you familiar with what organizational assimilation is?
Well, maybe you have to brief me a little bit on that.
Okay, not a problem. So essentially, organizational assimilation is an organization's introduction to the new hire, if you will, of their
Oh, okay, gotcha.
expectations. So
Like the onboarding. Okay.
yeah, so like, yeah, pretty much onboarding. So cultural norms, expectations, things of that sort. And this is simply a relationship, right? You want for the new hire to be able to exchange those same values with you. So in just, processing what I share, what does that what did that look like for you at your current organization?
Yeah, so when I joined in 2019, I think I went through a lot of those activities, both in classroom and just online training on the screen, right? So in person, I think I attended almost, that was 3 days training, workshops. Yeah, where people from all, like who just joined the organization from all kind of functions, ages, and yeah, regardless. So we were thrown into a room and do various activities from start to finish. Okay, I take it back. It's like one day. Yeah, so we did every activity together to learn about the company and the culture and the values that we trying to promote. And because I think at that time, 2 years prior, the company was just trying to like not consolidate, but make it consistent across all the work groups, because we as a company inherit a lot of different cultures through merger and acquisition. So I think 2017 was when they try to make it a coherent and consistent one message to everyone. So following that exercise, we have what was the result of that, why we go to work every day. So the whole program was revolving around that. Yeah, so everyone was like, get to know what the company's value, the culture that we're trying to promote, which is one world, one campus. One airline, one campus. I can't remember. Yeah, so there should just be one culture that be fostered, and then also understanding what leadership is trying to do in order to help us as well through our career development as well as our personal life. Yeah, so that one day, I think at the end we received like a passport signifying that, okay, we have been trained on all of these. I think that was like greatly conducted. And the other thing is that you get to do that with people from other functions. So you feel, okay, yeah, everyone is being trained like the same thing. So if you speak to them outside your function or team, you're confident that they value the same thing. So yeah, so that makes you feel very safe. And I think the other one would be like I was fortunate enough to participate in another set of onboarding as well. That was for another team though, but it was included, I think, maybe because of the similar in function. So that team's training was much longer. It's like 3 days on site as well. So we learned technical things, but we also kind of tour campus and then watch the one video clip we have in our museum showing the heritage of the airline and showing different people around the globe. Yeah, so trying to exhibit the diversity and inclusion message that the company have everywhere that I go. So I think my onboarding experience was very expensive, and it helped me to feel very safe for the company.
Got it, got it. And I thought it was neat. You said your company, they gave you essentially a type of passport once you completed a training. Is that
Yeah, it's like notebook, to have all of key points that they gave out during the training. Yeah, that we
uh,
can refer to.
okay? And then do you identify with any of your core values or any of the organization's core values?
Yeah, so pretty much, I think the one that I kind of practice a lot is leaders is actually like the servants to his or her people.
Okay.
When you put in the leadership role, your role is really to facilitate other people to achieve their best potential. And I think one of my core value is pretty much that, and I practiced that since my graduate degree, like before I joined the company. So when I saw that was one of the value the company is trying to infuse into the leadership, I feel confident that I can. So even though I chose the company, not because I think can progress very fast, right? But as I learned that this is what the company is going, where the company is going, I kind of feel, well, okay, it happened to be the right place as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And then, do you think that you were assimilated or, onboarded, if
Uh-huh.
you will, similar to your peers?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there was any like different treatment, and especially as I mentioned, in addition to the basic one, I was included in another one just because of the functionalities, not because I was on that team. Was what I feel like. Oh wow, I feel like kind of privileged actually. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So I think we've covered the second segment. Now we'll move into the last segment.
Okay.
Essentially, it's on job satisfaction. Um, are you satisfied at your current employer? Why or why not?
Yeah, so it's a mixed response from me because I mean there are external factors that kind of change things so fast. Right? So when I was in my previous, so I've been in on two roles, two different teams, and I think my first role it kind of meets all my personal goals, but then it was a bit sluggish on the career side, and when I feel like okay, should I just go with the flow and be sluggish like that, or should I try to be more proactive and maybe push myself a little bit? So that's where I feel that the previous team maybe satisfying my personal needs too much and lacking on the other side of the business. So COVID happened, and that's when the whole industry, not just my company, witnessed like a brain drain. People left the company, and a lot of positions need to be filled immediately just for the business to continue to run. So that's where I find the opportunity. Okay, let's switch team and see if I can sacrifice my personal life a little bit, but then can push my career forward much faster. So I made a decision, changed team, and I kind of achieved what I wanted as well. So I feel that, okay, so it seems to me that if I want something at a company, it's vast and diverse enough in terms of functions that I can do what I want, right? But of course, COVID was a big push to it because if not, it was very difficult to switch from my first role to my second role, the operation to commercial. Yeah, so I feel that okay, maybe because I was intentionally doing things, so that's why I get what I wanted. But I'm not sure if I was not intentional, how would that phase out? Yeah.
Okay, got it. No, that's awesome. Um, so essentially, it sounds like, you are satisfied. However, there may be some things there. But if you could name three, I know the growth was one for you while you that you're satisfied with. What are some other things or your top three reasons, maybe two additional ones, why you feel satisfied?
Um, yeah, so I guess the other piece is that so when I joined a company, I'm not from the airline industry. I didn't have much expertise in what I was going to do. I only acquired in class and through my graduate degree. But when I come into the company, I think my opinion was valued. Right, they were willing to listen to me in like applying what I learned to solve the problem at hand. So I think that was tremendous because I think before the graduate degree, I was in a role where pretty much everything is by the book. So if I want to do something different, people would just say it's not going to work. Yeah. So I think my opinions being valued is another one, and similarly in my current role as well. It's not that I'm very skilled data scientist. I learned it in class, and actually in my current role, I hope to apply it. But then my manager would treat that as Trang knows it. Trang has the expertise, so he would assign job to me that helped me to grow that. And when I couldn't do that, or he couldn't do that because of just of the arrangement in the team, he would ask me, "Do you have a problem with that, Trang? What is your plan on that I can help with?" So I think I'm lucky enough to have managers that care about those aspects, right? So, and especially always pay attention to my plan of what I want to achieve when joining the team. So I think I really appreciate that. Yeah, because sometimes, of course, my manager is so busy, but he set aside time every week to get in touch with everyone for 45 minutes just to ask what are the roadblocks or what kind of discussion we need in order to solve our problem at work. But on like the higher level, he would always pay attention to what I want to achieve on the team. So I think that is the level of care that I may not be able to find elsewhere. Unless I actively seek and ask for it, right? And in this case, it's like my manager pushed it down to me, so it helped me to motivate me and then kind of keep me on track with my own goals as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you involved in any activities sort of within your organization, but outside of your work that you value? So maybe that's a committee or an initiative that
Mm-hmm.
you are involved in.
Yeah, so I used to, but once we kind of work remotely, I'm not actually involved anymore. So before that, when we were still in office, I participate in all those employee resource group, and I kind of volunteer, telling them I can help with things that I'm confident in. Of course, none of that realized because just 2 months later we had the pandemic. So yeah, that was the group for employees above 40 years old. Yeah, so I think that group was meant to help people who kind of like very late in their career realizing I need to change or I need growth and I don't know where to start. And I was telling the leader that I can help with like setting up LinkedIn profile for people. Yeah, because I mean, imagine people who have been in frontline roles for maybe 20 years and now realize, oh, I want some management role. And they don't know where to start, especially with networking and how to present themselves in a sense that show they have transferable skills to the management side, right? So yeah, of course none of that happened because of COVID. Yeah. So as we get back to office and more activities are allowed, I guess that's where my role would be more active.
Got it. Got it. No,
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Okay. And are you aware of any mentorship opportunities at your place of work?
Yeah, there are, so there are three types. One is that I have an assigned mentor that I can reach out to discuss my career plan and all that, or just the company in general. The second type, which I have never been able to get, is through one of the employee resource group. They would look at the applicant's profile and then decide who will get the mentor. It's quite competitive because they have limited resources, like limited number of mentors. That's why I think it hasn't worked out for me. The third type, which I heard people practicing, but with my current role, I'm too busy to seek out any mentorship, is like you just reach out to some leader that you feel you need to learn something from him or her and then ask him or her to become your mentor. I think that happens a lot, like around my circles, especially when someone is new on the team and then someone who is more senior at the company in general can help navigate. Yeah, like which team is better suit to your goals and those kind of questions. Because from the outside, you wouldn't know. So those internal insights is can only be obtained by talking to people who have been with the company for a long time. I've seen people doing that, yeah. But for me, it's not the type that I want yet. So I haven't really actively tried to seek that out. Yeah, I'll set aside
Okay.
time for it.
Do you think maybe you've received like informal mentors, where it's a little less structured, or do you not really at your current place of work?
Yeah, so I think there is no structural way of mentoring, and relationship between mentor and mentees is kind of like led by me. Yeah, so, but of course, when I ask people like how should that be structured, of course they would advise me on like big items, right? So let me see. Oh, I forgot to mention there's also another circle of women in analytics that I got included in through a manager that I support at work. And I think that is structured ones where every month I think we have a session and a guest speaker, and we choose a topic to talk about. And then that guest speaker kind of become like an official mentor for the whole group. Yeah, but then women, like for people within that circle, you can reach out anytime to ask questions. Yeah, so that is, I think, the structural way. But any other form of like one-to-one mentorship is, I think, pretty much unstructured. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're on our last question. It's essentially kind of a three-part question. But we talked a little bit about it. But what are some of your um, professional and or personal goals?
Okay. Yeah, so I think it kind of changes with phases in my life, and currently I'm in the stage where I want, like I mentioned from the beginning, a balanced work life to enable me to take care of my daughter and see her growing up and help her with her schoolwork and all those kind of things. And also, I think it has to enable me to maintain my health mentally and physically. Yeah, so those are my priorities and goals. Um, I think in terms of professional, I'm not very much into like high leadership role or like VP or whatever. Like people management is not really my goal. I just want to really become an expert in my field of technical skills. Yeah, so I think that's what it is. Yeah,
Okay.
I may change in the future, but I don't know.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then do you feel supported by your organization for
Yes.
your goal?
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Um, so, for example, professionally, I want to become an expert, right? So, of course, you need training. You need constant touch with the industry to know what's the latest. So, I know where to find those things personally, but then also from the corporate side, we just have like corporate accounts with training websites that's free for everyone. So it's just a matter of like, do I have enough time to do all of that? It's not the lack of support. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And then I guess, the last part of that is, do you feel that you're making progress towards your goals?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And how would you say, or why would you, why do you feel or that you're making progress?
So it just happened either by chance or by intentional assignment of like projects that help me to acquire the skills I need.
Got it. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, essentially, I have asked all the questions that I have, unless there's
Mm-hmm.
anything that you want to add as to how your current employer is, working to retain women. That's, again, essentially all the questions that I have.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is that for women, we have to play many roles in our life, not just being a good employee. So the company kind of, and even manager wise, right? All my managers have been male, but they understand what I need in terms of taking care of my family and things like that. So I've never felt like I have to sacrifice one for the other. And that's the most important thing because, yeah, that's just how it is for me. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So never felt that you've had to sacrifice either role.
Yeah, to the extent that like the baseline is not sacrificed. Yeah, of course you can see that I always have baseline, and then what is the higher, like, preferential, right? It's just like for a job you have basic qualification and then preferred qualification. So
Of
yeah.
course. Okay. Um, well, again, thank you for your time. Again, I think, you know, this was very helpful.